So anytime somebody sends me an article about Dragon Ball that was written by a website other than Kanzenshu or somebody who's actually credible, who I feel is trustworthy, I always tend to raise an eyebrow, so to speak. And I recently was sent this article. Well, really what happened was Saskia, who's a big fan of the Next Dimension podcast, those of you remember Donovan Morgan was on this show, or on this channel that is, um, she submitted this or put this on their page, and I took a look at it here from WhatCulture.com. The 7 immensely disappointing things in Dragon Ball Super that need fixing. Now, everybody knows that I do love Dragon Ball, but the one thing that I've always kind of been proud of is that I'm very aware that Dragon Ball is far from a perfect series. There are plot holes in Dragon Ball, there are inconsistencies, and there are things that need to be fixed. But again, whenever somebody writes an article like this, it's really a red flag for me, mostly because we're only 16 episodes into this thing and people are already kind of writing it off, and let's be honest, for bullshit reasons. I mean, really, Dragon Ball Super is not perfect at all. Some have thought that the Battle of Gods arc is disappointing, but, and that's fair. That's a fair, analysis. I don't disagree with you. It's definitely not as good as the movie in my opinion, but I do feel that as we progress through the series and we're getting new stuff, it is getting a little bit better. So I took a look at this article here, and again, I don't know Stefan very well, the author here, not familiar with him whatsoever as far as the community goes, but already at the beginning, he writes here that Dragon Ball Super simply feels like a mediocre attempt at Toriyama at reviving the series. That's not exactly what happened. If you do your homework, it's pretty much well known that Toriyama really had no intent in reviving this series. He was asked to do it back in 2009, and he said no. Toei were the ones that kind of brought him into it, and of course the success of Battle of Gods and him falling in love with his characters again is really what brought him back. But I don't believe that Toriyama is, a cash grab. This is not a cash grab for Toriyama at all. I don't believe that to be the case. Could it be a cash grab for Toei? You could make an argument. Now, he says here, of course, that he lost touch of what made the anime so special. Well, Toriyama didn't do the anime. Toriyama did the manga. So, again, kind of a nitpicky start. But let's go ahead and get through it. And of course, this is all Stefan's opinion. I'm going to go ahead and kind of criticize what he said or give my thoughts. I do agree with some of what he said. No disrespect to him. But whenever I see an article like this, again, I tend to kind of, at least it's not Kotaku. Kotaku's really fucking bad. So, he says here there will be spoilers starting from Dragon Ball Z up to episode 16 of Super. And that's true. So if you're watching this video, there are some spoilers here. For Dragon Ball Super. Let's go ahead and get to his opinion. Now, again, this already kind of irritates me. The inconsistent animation. First of all, I'm so sick and tired of the community bitching about the animation. I know that the animation is not perfect. We all know that episode 5 of Super had some of the worst animation in the entire franchise. But again, if you were to sit there and watch Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and literally go in there and dissect every single scene and pause it, you're going to find bad animation. You're going to find it. It's irritating. I know Dino Rhymestyle and Toasty, a few other guys on Twitter have said they're pretty much sick and tired. Really, Rhymestyle. And I agree with them. They're sick and tired of people kind of pointing out the bad animation because, yes, it's there. It's not that we're fans of the series and we're defending it, but it's there, and it's always been there, even since Dragon Ball. So it's not a fair criticism that you can say that Super has bad animation when Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z did too. Not to mention that, also understand that I did do a video on this channel about why the animation is bad. And yes, you can blame Toei, and yes, we all do deserve better animation, but I'm just so tired of hearing about it. And he's right. He's right about One Piece not having a problem, even though I've been told that it does. He says here that other long-running anime series like Naruto never had this problem. I'm not too familiar with Naruto, but I was told by a few people that Naruto does have horrible animation in some episodes. So do your homework, buddy. Now, again, I'm not a Naruto expert. I've just been told. Incredibly disappointing Ki Blast. Okay, this kind of irritates me because he uses the final flash here. Final Flash was not done until right around episode 163, right around there. It was in the 150s and 160s. Dragon Ball Super 16 episodes in. And we have seen Epic Ki Blast. We saw Epic Ki Blast during the Goku Beerus battle in space. We saw some badass Kamehamehas. Will we see a Final Flash or something similar? We already saw Vegeta bust out the Gala Gun. I disagree with him completely. I think he's reaching here. I don't think it's been disappointing. However, there was that one disappointing Ki Blast on Kai's planet that Goku shot at Beerus. But other than that, I don't think it's been disappointing at all. But again, this just started. So the criticism is way too soon. Number 5, rehashing the new movies. Now, this is interesting because I do somewhat agree that I don't think they should have just retold the story. I don't know if the word rehash is really the right word. They're taking the story from Battle of Gods and Resurrection F and expounding upon it. I do agree with him, and a lot of people do that. It's a little confusing and weird that they're, retelling the story. I don't think it's a big issue, especially since a lot of the stuff that they're redoing kind of fills in the holes, especially in the more recent episodes. But I do understand that. I do get his point here. And I agree with him somewhat. So again, I'm not going to bash this guy, and I'm very unbiased. I love Dragon Ball, but come on now. Number 4, he said it's way past time for Goku's character to evolve. And by the way, I'm not going to read the entire article here. I already read it earlier. Goku's character development. We saw some of it in Resurrection F, even though I criticized Resurrection F for having, let's say, how can I put it? It's kind of Goku's kind of learning lessons that he already learned, about underestimating his opponents and things like that. However, again, we're only 16 episodes into this series. We're only 16 episodes in. Will Goku's character evolve as the series progresses? I like to think so. I personally want better writing for the series. I personally want things to be better. And he does make a good point that Piccolo and Vegeta did have the most character development in Dragon Ball. And I agree. Their arc is perfect. Goku is just Goku. But again, I don't think his character has in any way de-evolved. I think he's always just Goku. It doesn't bother me that much. But that one's right in the middle. Number 3, none Goku... Okay, that's bad grammar. None Goku Vegeta characters are already being left in the dust. So what he's talking about is characters from the past that are no longer being featured. I know a lot of people watching this video are big fans of Gohan, Piccolo. I get it. And I totally understand that, yes, if you look at the material, you know that Super is going to be primarily focused on Goku, Vegeta, Beerus, Whis, and Champa. We know this. We know this to be true. The thing is, though, that this is nothing new to Dragon Ball, okay? When we got to Dragon Ball Z, Yamcha, Tenshinhan, Chaozu, these characters went to the wayside for Gohan, Trunks, and then, of course, later on in the series, we got Kid, Trunks, and Goten, and by that point, it was all about Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Goten, and Trunks. Nobody else even mattered. Piccolo spent the entire Buu saga watching things from the heavenly realm. You know what I mean? So this is nothing new. I can understand his desire to have these characters have more screen time. And the thing is, with what was spoiled in Dragon Ball Super Manga Chapter 5 from Toyotaro, there's going to be a 5-on-5 tournament which can feature some of these guys. So again, it's too soon to tell. We're getting into some good stuff here. But I do see where his point, but this is nothing new for Super. It's something that Dragon Ball has always done, and it somewhat is kind of bad writing, but again, it's just nothing new. He says SSGSS is just Super Saiyan with a different paint job. The thing is, a lot of people love this form. A lot of people love the blue-haired SSJ. This is more of a matter of opinion. I don't know if it's disappointing, quote unquote. A lot of people were disappointed with SS God. Now, here's something that I want to explain to a lot of you guys who may not know. Toriyama, if you are familiar with Toriyama's work, if you are familiar with Toriyama's writing, you know that less is more for Toriyama. When he created Frieza, I'm still calling him Frieza after all these years. When he was doing Frieza, right, his fourth form was such a simple look compared to his previous two. and even his first form. That's how Toriyama is. Kid Buu is the smallest one. Toriyama likes to sway the audience, big things come in small packages, so to speak. He thinks the cheap rehash. I actually like the blue-haired form. I did a video about the blue-haired form where a lot of people like it. I love the aura too, so it's just his opinion. I don't think that's disappointing, but it's whatever. I mean, what else could you possibly do? How many hair colors can you do at this point? And then this is the one that really kind of pissed me off. He said there's no trace of a bigger picture. Now, in his defense, he may have not read manga chapter 5, but he does point out earlier in this article that he knows that Toriyama already wrote the Universe 6 arc. He knows that there's things coming in the story. He knows this. He knows that. So how can you sit there and write and say, there's no trace of a bigger picture when you know that there is a bigger picture? Now, he's saying here, of course, that Goku's character wants to get stronger and Vegeta wants to catch up to him. That's kind of the story here, and now it's no longer about Vegeta wanting to kill Goku. Now it's, about Vegeta at least keeping up with him. It's no longer one of those things where he wants to beat him up or kill him or anything. Now, he talks about how during every saga there was a specific villain, that and the reason for them to get stronger. But that's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. Champa's coming. Universe 6 arc is coming. The interdimensional inter-universe tournament is coming. I don't think that that's a bad thing. In fact, I don't think it's a disappointment at all. I think that with the Battle of Gods retelling, when we saw Goku and Beerus ripping holes in the dimensional fabric, even though you can criticize that, it's something new. So, again, this article, nothing against this guy really, but it's a little too soon to write off Dragon Ball Super as being disappointing. I can see a lot of the fans in North America being let down because they already saw Battle of Gods. They don't really understand why it's being told again. That, of course, is going to happen when the dub comes out. But nonetheless, if you know what's coming, there's new stuff coming. So let's all just enjoy it together. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. Leave me your thoughts below. I want to know if there's anything that you find particularly disappointing about Dragon Ball Super. You don't have to give me 7 things. The only thing that I've been disappointed in, to be honest, that really disappointed, is that Sumitomo's score is okay, but not perfect. It's got some flaws. Also, I think the writing is fantastic, especially for the slice of life episodes. The comedy is just incredible. Vegeta is like the most likable character ever in Dragon Ball Super. I love that, but I do think that the pacing is a bit slow. I think it could be a little bit better. Other than that, I'm enjoying the show, and I think it's getting better and better, and I really hope that they fix things. And of course, there's also the problem with them not explaining things and the uselessness of the Pilaf gang, and there are inconsistencies there. And of course, there's also the whole thing with the timeline not making any sense either, even though it kind of does if you have some headcanon for it. It's never explained to us. So, again, give me your thoughts on what's disappointing, but do you think it's really immensely disappointing? I don't know. But anyway, that's all I got for you, and I'll put a link to the article below so you can read the entire thing. Thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all down the road.